The Arkansas trauma system is closer to a reality, and a delegation of legislators from southern states prepare for an economic and cultural mission to Taiwan. From the state capitol in Little Rock, this is Speaker of the House, Robbie Wills. Last February, the Arkansas General Assembly went through a highly publicized and contentious debate over an increase in the tobacco tax to fund a major health care initiative, including the establishment of a statewide trauma system, linking our state's hospitals together in a network of facilities providing life-saving care within the golden hour. House Bill 1204 passed by the exact number needed in the House and with one vote to spare in the Senate. According to the Associated Press, 60 Arkansas hospitals have applied to receive funding for trauma care that will come from that tobacco tax. The tax is expected to gross about $20 million during the first year. The State Health Department hopes to have some of the money to hospitals by October. Arkansas Children's Hospital is among the hospitals who have applied for the money. Dr. James Graham says the hospital treats about 80% of severely injured children in the state and wants to add physicians to give more training to its current staff. Health Department spokesman Ed Barham says the funding will help medical authorities save lives and improve the outcomes for people who don't die after being injured. Unfortunately, no hospital serving southern Arkansas has applied to join the state's new trauma system as of this date. On Saturday, I'll leave for a week-long trip to Taipei, Republic of China, also known as Taiwan, as part of a delegation of state legislative leaders from the southern United States. Representative Jerry Brown of Wynn and Jamie Gates of the Conway Development Corporation will accompany me. The government of Taiwan is providing the travel and lodging for this program, so no Arkansas taxpayer dollars will be expended. The delegation is being organized by the Taipei Economic and Cultural Affairs Office in Houston. As you may know, the United States doesn't recognize the government of Taiwan, therefore official diplomatic relations are currently non-existent. The U.S. ended relations in 1979 as a prerequisite for establishing ties with the Communist government of mainland China, the People's Republic of China. Unofficial diplomatic relations are nevertheless maintained on both sides by means of de facto embassies, which are technically private organizations staffed by career diplomats who are formally on leave. Taiwan's de facto embassy network is the Taipei Economic and Cultural Representative Office, with offices in Washington and 12 other U.S. cities, including Houston, Texas. The American's similar organization in Taiwan is the American Institute in Taiwan. As an adjunct to these informal organizations, Taipei has made a concerted effort to build relationships with state government officials around the country to foster trade and diplomatic relations. This trip is part of that effort and will serve as a trade and cultural mission of sorts. The itinerary includes visits to the Ministry of Education, the Taipei World Trade Center, the offices of the American Institute in Taiwan, the American State Officers Association, the Legislative Yuan, the Executive Yuan, the Southern Taiwan Science Park, the Bureau of Foreign Trade, and the Ministry of Economic Affairs. We'll visit the cities of Taipei, Hualien, and Kaohsiung, the sister city to Little Rock. And we'll have the opportunity to travel around Taiwan by high-speed rail. Having never traveled further west than Alaska, this should be a learning experience for me in more ways than one, and I'll make every attempt to maintain this website while I'm away. Finally, on a sad note, I joined many other Arkansans this past week to lay to rest my good friend Justin Mitchell, who passed away July 1st. Justin was a native of Atkins, where he graduated high school in 1993. He graduated from Arkansas Tech University in 1999. He was a former president of the Young Democrats of Arkansas, and in 2008 he was appointed by Governor Mike Beebe to the State Board of Workforce Education and Career Opportunities. He worked as a deputy at the Pulaski County Clerk's Office since 2005. Justin is survived by his daughter, Elizabeth Ann Libby Mitchell, his wife, Ari Stanage Mitchell of Little Rock, his mother and stepfather, Ann and Freddie Davis of Atkins, his brother Blake DeSalvo, stepbrother Alan Davis of Atkins, and stepsister Kim Williams of Boonville, and a whole host of family and friends. We were fraternity brothers and shared an interest in Democratic Party politics and Razorback football, among many other things. In fact, I owe a lot to Justin Mitchell. Justin always claimed, rightfully so, that he was responsible for all my happiness. You see, back in 1998, he talked me into going to Chicago to a Young Democrats conference. I didn't want to go, but he was very persuasive. "Come on, it'll be fun," he said. Well, at that conference, I met a young lady from Oklahoma named Dana Maxwell, and sometime later I convinced Miss Maxwell that moving to Arkansas and marrying me would be a good idea. We've had 10 happy years of marriage and 2 wonderful daughters. And as Justin also pointed out, since Dana's the real reason I've amounted to anything, I guess I've got Justin to thank for my political success too. He was a good friend, and he will be sorely missed. Well, that's the weekly webcast for this week. I plan to bring you an update while in Taiwan, but for now, from the state capitol in Little Rock, this is Speaker of the House, Robbie Wills.